اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والقاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهذه إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره وقدره العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أفضل الصلاة وتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن السادة التابعين علماء عاملين وأئمة ربهم مشاهدين مقلديهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Welcome to the Soullutionz podcast. Presents a discussion on social media's influence on present day society. I'm one of your hosts, Imam Muhammad Abdul Amin. Also, I'll be co-hosting with Amir Khalil Abdullahi, Imam Malik Robinson, and Brother Salih Abdul Majid. So, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I just wanted to start. This discussion is, it's one of the many topics that we wanted to talk about. However, social media and its influence on present day has really taken off. Social media kind of started 2005, 2007, and get real popular to 2008, 2009, maybe 2010. With a bunch of different other social media platforms besides Facebook. You had MySpace, you had Google Plus, which they weeded that out. You had Facebook, you had Instagram, you got Twitter. Twitter's been around for some time. One thing about social media, and it really got very popular during the pandemic, especially with these podcasts and stuff like we're doing right now on these platforms. Generally, there's a lot of money that can be made from having a social media platform. There's a lot of money that can be made when you're a YouTuber or a gamer. And pretty much our society is entertained by social media. Most people on Facebook, they have 2,500 friends on their friend list, people that they really don't even know. Some people they may know in person. Some people they may know from a long time ago. They reconnect with them. Some people, they have no idea who they are. And a lot of people get catfished on this joint as well. Any platform. So it's some benefit, it's some dangers as well. Like I said, people make money on different social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, content creators. They create content on Facebook. They create content on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. And also, you could take classes online on Facebook and all of these platforms and stuff. Where a lot of people, so many people has benefited Islamically from academically from Facebook, even on many of our platforms and groups that we have, educational groups, to where some people can benefit Islamically, gaining Islamic knowledge and everything. And you have have people that's platforms on here that's just strictly for entertainment. Also, it's designed and set up to where an individual can be whoever it is that they want to be on here. Like some people, they known in the Facebook community, but they're not known in their real world, in their real life community. Right? They're not connected to any type of community masjid or whatever. They just by their lonesome, right? And then you have some people that are known publicly in the community, in their own communities, and they're known on Facebook. And then you have people that's just you know, they don't have anything to do. They got like 15 different pages. I remember in 2011 or 2012, I heard about someone, they had like 4 different Facebook pages, and they will make one of the pages will make a post, and then all 4 of them will be on that same post, like just commenting and stuff, like real weirdo type stuff. You know, it's people like that out here that's actually sick. But the society that we live in, many people are dependent on these Facebook platforms. I remember one year we was in a masjid, and a brother had said, he asked the khatib, you cannot make this stuff up. He asked the khatib, when does Ramadan start? And the khatib said, don't you have Twitter? Don't you have Facebook? Genius. He asked you, when does Ramadan start? He could have just simply answered, when we cite the Hilal, or when we get a report that the Hilal has been cited. Right now, it's the 5th of Shaban, or it's the 27th of Rajab. You know what I mean? Simple answer like that. But his answer was, why don't you check Facebook? Why don't you check Twitter? Can't make this stuff up. You know what I'm saying? So to bring that up, the reason for me mentioning that is that he was advising the individual to get online, get on online presence, which 9 times out of 10, majority of the people don't have any type of knowledge of what starts or what end. They all going by somebody's report, a calculation or whatever, or even a prayer schedule, simple prayer schedule. They going by that. There's not many people that's actually going out every month citing the Hilal for each Islamic month, for each month on the Hijra calendar. You know what I'm saying? It blew me away. I think that was 2009. It was before I had got on Facebook. At that time, 2009, I looked at every social media platform as being a waste of time. Then in 2010, when I got on Facebook, I was like, man, this stuff can be real addictive. You know what I'm saying? It could be real addictive. You know, so you can get attention that you never even thought that you could get. Most people don't never get in person. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they don't even have a social networking in real life. They're only, if it wasn't for Facebook, if it wasn't for Instagram, they wouldn't have any friends. They'll be friendless. They will have no social life. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all this stuff, because these are people, they just go about their own regular life, and you know what I'm saying, they do what they do, and their only excitement is on Facebook. And then a lot of times, some people can't even deal with them in person. You know what I'm saying? Deal with the real them in person. So it's easier for them to be, and some of them can't even be dealt with, can't even be dealt with on social media. I mean, they so rude, have real bad adapt and all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And because you're typing, because open the door and go in there, man. Because you're typing, you know, if a person does not read with comprehension, then they'll misunderstand what you type, or you just don't have good wordness. Go use the bathroom. Go back in the room. I'll take you in a minute. All right, so hope, yeah. Go back in the room. Stop letting that. All right, so you know what I'm saying. What all saying? Oh yeah. they've been doing this all day, man.
Yo, I got a question for you, because you said something very you know, it made my mind light up like a light bulb. You said that, you know, about communication, right? you said that some people, you know, can't read and all the other. So do you
They
think
don't
that,
read with comprehension. Yeah.
right, you read or comprehend, right? So you gotta look at it like this. Could it be the possibility that if you think about a lot of us, man, a lot of us didn't graduate high school. Some of us got third grade reading levels, man. So it's like they're gonna take everything offensive because they don't know, you know, how to, you know, distinguish what's, you know, how to put the sentence together, man. So everything is, you know, already messed up in their head. So they gonna go. So do you think that's another problem too? Why communication is bad on Facebook?
Well, and being able to communicate and being educated, or you know what I'm saying, it's two different things,
But
right?
you gotta be able to read, right? If you can't really read, you know what I mean? Like,
You can be able to communicate and have bad and don't have education. But people, you know what I'm saying, if a person, the normal person is reading on the third, fourth, or fifth grade reading level, you know what I'm saying. But the thing is, because you can read well, does not mean that you can structure a sentence well. You know what I'm saying? So some people don't have good sentence structure. Hold on.
man, what's going on, Habibi? How you feeling, man?
All right, so some
Well,
people
I can't complain.
they don't have good, you know what I'm saying, they don't have good sentence structure. All right, so they can't put a sentence together well. Just listen. Some people type how they talk. You ever notice that?
That's what I'm saying.
Type how they talk. Hold on, man.
That's, you get what I'm saying, man? That's what I'm saying. Like if you can't even really talk, you know what I mean? You got a third grade level, man. You're just gonna be jacked up.
I mean, even educated, that's how a lot of us talk, you know, because that's just where we come from. We come from the hood. So,
listen, it's different between slang and like, yo, what this brother talk about, man? He talk about.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I
You know
remember
what I mean?
it was a like a little skit or whatever, and it had like dude, he was going live, and he was like he was reading the comments. He like there they are. Like that. I mean, that's really some people level, but you know, like you said, it
Yeah,
come
you
at
know.
and people ain't learn. You know, that's real.
Yeah. So, yeah, but you know, a lot of times, it's the problem is that people. So a lot of people they type how they talk. You know what I'm saying, and that don't mean that they're not educated. They may have a college degree, but it's just that they. You know what I'm saying? They you can't really understand where they coming from. Like for example, I just commented on just read some of the comment of read some of the comments under my comment and on this post, right? And simply my comment was, if it's not for you, don't force it. You know what I'm saying? A sister asked, what are your ideas on what do you think about polygyny? Mine was, if it's not for you, don't force it. What do I mean by that? Now, someone had misunderstood what I said. Why? Because they don't know what I'm talking about. Somebody said, what part of the sunnah does that come from? What part of the sunnah comes from marrying only one? Had nothing to do with what that has nothing to do with my comment is.
It seemed like to me your comment is based on relationships.
Is exactly, if it's not for you, if polygyny is not for you, you're not a person that can deal with more than one wife. You're not a person that can deal with being married to a man that has more than one wife. Don't force it. You know what I'm saying? If this is not for you, don't get in it. You know what I'm saying? If this is not for you, don't fraud like you all for it. Yeah, it's a part of the religion. Yes, of course, it's a part of the religion. It's a part of the Sharia. However, if it's not for you, don't indulge in it. Because even with a lot of us, a lot of times we may marry more than one wife, or may have 2-3 wives, and we don't really even necessarily like women. It ain't that we don't like women. We just don't like the foolishness that we have to put up with. Well, guess what? You're dealing with another person. You're married to a woman. So guess
Word.
what?
Word.
Naturally, you're gonna deal with the emotional, sensitive, and social things that you're gonna have to deal with a woman. You know what I'm saying? If you got daughters, you know that your daughters and your wives act similar. They what? You know what I'm saying? They act similar. You know what I'm saying? They're not the same, but they have similar characteristics because they share the same nature. You have to deal with that. You have to deal with the way that the woman manipulates her husband. You have to deal with the same fitna that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to deal with. Aisha radiallahu anha and Hafsa radiallahu anha, they used to come together and do stuff. You know what I'm saying, to get Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to veer their way. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we have to do. If this happened to the best of us, guess what, partner? This is part of his sunnah that we're following. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have to get the same thing. Also, we're going to have to display the capability on guidance and leading them as well, because that's a part of the provision that we're supposed to provide for them. Some people just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? They just don't get it. But that was an example of how from typing about 6-7 words, someone can misunderstand what you're talking about. Don't ask you what do you mean, just misunderstand it. You know?
Now question, right, for all of y'all. Do you think social media now is one of the major cause of divorce?
No, one of the major causes of divorce.
Now.
One of the major causes of you can't put one major cause, but one of the causes of divorce is that people are not being who they actually are. They're not being realistic with who they are, right? Another part of divorce, cause of divorce, is that people are not are not being realistic to the institution that they engage themselves into. For example, some people may only get married so that they can stop fornicating. You know what I mean? Just so they can stop fornicating, not actually deal with all of the things that come with being in a marriage, right? Because you're stopping fornicating, that's honorable. That's honorable. However, trying to stay married to the individual that you marry, dealing with the things that you have to deal with, and dealing with and being married to another person, not just another person, your Muslim sister or your Muslim brother, who has rights on you as a spouse, but they also have rights on you as a Muslim brother and sister. A lot of times we take the rights that we have on each other as a Muslim brother and sister out of the equation of the marriage. So as a result, we treat each other real foul and shady. You know what I'm saying? Real horrible. You know what I mean? I remember one time, subhanAllah, and I hate to quote this, but you know what I'm saying? I had a wife call me Ivan the Terrible. Anybody know who Ivan the Terrible was? Long story short, it was a Kappa. You know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying? So it was like it was like horrible, but the only thing that made her think that way of me at the time of me at the time is that everything was like black and white. It was no gray area. It was either this or that. You follow what I'm saying? So the way that I was, you know what I'm saying, ran the household, it sound rigid to someone on the outside looking in, and to the person that I was married to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like realistically, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, know the individual, you know what I'm saying, that you're gonna marry. You know, a lot of times we come into marriages and we still we still campaigning. The first 3 to 5 years, we still campaigning. You know what I'm saying? And trying to stay in the honeymoon stage, with, you know what I'm saying, while at the same time finessing each other and making, you know what I'm saying, not just making promises, but we're ironing out who we actually are. You follow what I'm saying? A lot of times we could be married for 12, 15 years and our spouse still don't know us, or we still don't know our spouse. Why? Because they done kept some things hidden. They ain't open up to a lot of stuff to you. Some spouses, they open up too much to you in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, you know, taking it slow. But in reality, in some cases, it's best to open up with everything in the beginning, because you have to know what you're dealing with. You have to know what traumas the person is dealing with, that you're dealing with them right now. I mean, you're dealing with them same traumas. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with them same incidents that happen in their life. You're dealing with their psychological state at the current time. I remember I was married to a sister. She was had dissocial identity disorder, which means she had 3 personalities, and each one of them jokers, you know what I'm saying, I knew exactly who they were. You know what I'm saying? So you're dealing with this type of stuff. You follow what I'm saying? When I gave her a talaq, when I divorced her the first time, she didn't even know that she was divorced. You know what I'm saying? She didn't even know that she was divorced, because one of the personalities had taken over the body.
Yeah, you married the Moon Knight.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like they realized that they was divorced the second time. It was like, what happened? Because, you know what I'm saying? Because the real them was asleep.
How did you manage that? Well, what's the movie with Bruce Willis, with the guy that had all the other personalities?
I know what you're talking about too. I can't remember the name.
Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. You remember the guy came in as exactly a girl one time?
The dude was a girl and everything.
Look, it was this dude. It was the dude I was locked up with on my right. It was the dude I was locked up with on my second bit. He had dissocial identity disorder. You know what I'm saying? When he got high, and then, you know, then nobody paid no attention to this in the joint. But when he got high, he was a female. It was a female. Yo, when he was sober, he was his normal crazy self. One of the normal crazy selves. Wow. The thing about this social identity disorder is that they don't actually know how many personalities they have. They may know about 2 or 3, but it may actually be 10 personalities.
Some dudes is possessed by a jinn, basically.
Hey, somebody commented, "Oh my God!"
That's because you married the Moon Knight. You didn't know if it was Mark. What was it, the guy Khonshu and all that?
Yeah, all types of stuff.
Man, personality, son. Yeah, you gonna be the bid, man.
Yeah, so basically, you know, we kind of like, well, we didn't get off. We didn't get off topic, because if you really look at Facebook, for example, it's a bunch of people on there with this social identity disorder. They got like 15 pages. You know what I'm saying? The one main page that you normally communicate with, they like 3 different people on that joint too.
I've seen people like that too.
You ever see a person
all the time
that got multiple pages? They make a stat and they go log into other pages and like the stat.
Like the stat and share it with the other page too. Like, what the? That's a whole other person. People crazy out here, man. Society crazy.
What I miss?
And then they lie, right? You had a sister you married to that got the page like that. Oh, I got locked out of my accounts. Yeah, okay, I know.
Everybody.
I seen one. I seen one, that sister had a whole alternative lifestyle, man. She was tripping, man. And one joint in bikinis and everything. I told the brother was down at the point. I had to write him like, yo, your wife over here tripping, man. Like she got like 8 different pages, man. And one
Hey,
of them she getting lit on.
hey, look, man. It's one sister page, man. I know on one page she Muslim without. On the other page, she's sex worker.
Shaniqua.
You know what I'm saying? SubhanAllah.
Yeah,
But
You can't drop no names. You might have somebody get offended.
I ain't dropping no names at
What's
all.
my name?
Ain't
Please, your name.
Alhamdulillah, I mean.
But also another question for all you fellas. With social media, because you might ask you, is this one of the, the reason why I said one of the major causes, right? Because, it's a lot of major causes like, deceit, lying, betrayal, that's why I said it. But the question is, right? Another question would be, do social media make people feel as though they don't have to invest that much in the marriage because it's always somebody out there around the corner for them, that it made the world so much smaller? Do y'all think that's another reason?
I don't think that social media is the cause of it. If you foul, you're just a foul person. You just figure out how to shake and bake online. You know what I mean? Like, it went from, like drug dealing didn't stop. It's just virtual now. You know what I'm saying? You meet up somehow, or they just put it in the mail. You know what I mean? It doesn't change anything. There's certain causes. There's things that social media can influence the person. Like, like for instance, you might have a wife, and she may have multiple pages. You would never know, and you be like, look, listen, I want you to take the men off. Take the men off your page. And so on and so forth. And then she'll basically like either kick you off her page, block you. First response, most of them are, it's just social media. Right. If it was just social media, then you wouldn't have a hard time meeting my request. You see what I'm saying? Like, listen, don't put no pictures up. If you're gonna put a picture up, make sure you're in the, the proper clothing and so on and so forth. And and basically that's just them. That's that desire for them. Because the same thing they do on social media, they can do it out in the public. Social media just took things and made an extension, right? Made an extension of the earth, for real. Because you wouldn't be this bold. You had to be. People would think you were crazy if you were walking around half naked. They'd be like, "Yo, what's wrong with you?" You're literally now in people's living rooms, or in a bedroom, or wherever they, making their videos and things of that nature. You're literally in their house, and they're making videos. You know what I'm saying? They can see you sleeping on an air mattress. They can see you sleeping on a whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you could pretend. That's also the other thing. Like the one brother, I don't even remember his name, and I don't want to remember his name. But this boy was so condescending. Like when you look at the Black American Muslim community, everyone has jokes with regards to Philadelphia, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm not from Philly. I wasn't raised in Philly, but I am a native of Philadelphia. I seen this game before. All this game is, most of the people from towns was barely any Muslims anyway. So the dirt you doing ain't you sitting there like, on Facebook, your name is the Grand Mufti wa Alima, the Alim, the Muta'alim, you everything on Facebook. But when you go around the way, you ain't Sheikh no more. They're like, oh man, that's Joe, man. What up, Joe? What's good, Joe? Right? See, now people got into this whole thing because, even like the whole backtracking and, with Americans, this used to be a thing. And it was a thing that was, and you even found this even during the time of the Prophet said something. If a person had a particular name, they would change their name, right? And us culturally, talking about Black Americans, These names we got, John, Peter, Paul, you know, these joints was this joint was looked at as like, man, you know, like you get clown. Like if you were from the Caribbean, dudes will know your name. Your name is Bart or Bartholomew. They like, yo, this dude must be, you know, John Pattyfoot and all that kind of stuff. You know, they already know.
John Smith.
You know what I mean? And
Smith.
it was like, this was the thing. It's like, yo, you're wearing your handler's name, right? And, you know, so this used to be a thing. Now, because people are trying to hide their identity, you know, in the workforce and, you know, in the places where they mix with the kuffar, they don't want to be recognized with it. It ain't mandatory for you. So, you know, so all these things, it plays a part. So, you know, it creates identity. When you're you, you know, and that thing when you used to like wear your attribute, when you're you don't let it, you take it disrespectful when somebody call you other. If your name, your born name or your government, as we refer to it as, is Peter, right? And they're not referring to you as Abdul Bab, you know, you like, yo, I'm offended. Like, yo, don't call me that, right? And it used to be a whole mentality with it. Now, for some reason, the mentality is shifted, and we're like, it's almost like we're this hodgepodge, right? We're like this hodgepodge, and we're taking on these characteristics and these influences, you know. So yeah, social media. If you foul, you're gonna be foul on social media. You foul in public, you know, close quarters behind your doors. But like I said, people now, social media just give you a front row seat. You know. That's too many passwords to remember. So yeah, you know, but this is one of the things. One of the things, right? That I say about social media, because we went from the era where social media was haram. Remember that? Remember that era? You brothers was literally hiding that they were on social media. I remember those days. The man find out he give a khutbah. It's this social media, right? Next thing you know, the man giving classes 6-7 times a day on social media, on the Facebook, on the Facebook. You know, he giving dars all day long, all day, all night. You know, can't stop him from talking. So you know, that's, you know, so social media has its good and it has its bad, right? It's just like meeting a person in public. It has its good and it has its bad. But one of the things that I realized about social media is it influences the weak. You don't get better. You get worse. It influences the weak. You don't get better, you get worse. And the thing that you can't hide, see, these characteristics are already lying dormant in you. Like for instance, you ever know you ever notice I'll call it the algorithms or the patterns of people who fell off or aren't practicing Islam? What do they usually do? They go dark, right? They start putting up posts about you can't judge me, hashtag judge your mother, right? They do those kind of things, right? When they fall apart, they start falling apart at the wayside. You know, most people be inviting, what I call air talking. They be inviting people to a fight. And if you ain't ready to throw hands with me, don't you tell me nothing about my kufi. You be like, man, it's like that. Yeah, it's like that. You know, and you know, and so these type of things go on, and then when they're back on their deen, I put that in quotes. What happens when they're back on their deen? I can't believe it's summertime out here and people still wearing fake eyelashes. Oh, stop for the law, dude! You was just in a bar. You was just smoking hookah on live. Like, stop for the law, yo! I can't believe. So they become extremely critical, right? And so what happens is, and they're actually
That's how it is when Ramadan come back around.
yeah, and they're extremely ignorant of Islam, and so what happens is they begin to make their own deen. Honestly, they begin to make their own deen. They make their own rules. You know why? You know why I say, you know why most people ain't getting married? I think it's social media. Along with the sicknesses of the individuals. Nobody wants to look like a fool. Right? Nobody wants to look bad. So usually what they do is, see, this, and they criticize. If a sister got married and she got divorced like in a week, right? what they do, the whole earth will be talking about it. The whole social media Muslim platform will be talking about it. She'll be the example. She might be a meme next week, right? And then what happens after that? After that, they start making jokes about it. But the other people who's laughing and things like that, they start treating each other like it's haram. They start making their own deen, right? Like, the traditional Ramadan. If I did anything to offend you, I want you to, forgive me. Blase, blase, blah. And people think that it's like some sort of hadith or something like that. Tawbah is every day. Tawbah is every day. 360, 65, 66, whatever calendar you follow, all year round, all day, every day. Because the reality is, you can die at any moment. We don't think about that. Can you imagine that last key you hit that enter or that goal, that little blue button to send a foul message and you die right after that? Ain't no Tawbah for you. Can't take it back. But those things you don't think about. So social media can influence you and perpetuate or escalate your bad behavior. That's what social media can do. It can, and it, like I said, it brings a standstill. What was the hot topic this week?
If the brother didn't, you gotta buy everybody food. You gotta buy the cousin, the mom, the aunt.
Like, you man, look what's happening though. We don't see it, right? But these conversations that are being brought up, these hypothetical, all they are a bunch of hypothetical conversation, right? And all it is bringing a destruction of respect for the head of household for a man. It doesn't affect that most people family, but it definitely affects the Black American family because you're judged based on a stereotype. You're judged on a stereotype. People don't care. They be like, oh, you got a job. You say, no, I'm in between jobs. You a red flag. That's the new trend. That's trendy, right? You red flag. It's the red flags. This and this, that, and the third is a red flag. You might work for yourself. You can say
you ain't got no job.
If you say I work for myself, immediately people already just already a stereotype, already think like you like some kind of low level, petty panhandler that got a sign in the middle of Broad Street talking about I need food and water. And that's how they treat you. Right? But the Prophet ﷺ talked about there's honor in the work of a man, even if he go and chop down wood and sell it, to sell firewood. There's honor in work, period. No matter what type of work it is. I mean, haram work, there's no honor in haram work. But because we like to laugh and sensationalize and look down on people so much, has an effect, right? So let's just talk about the McDonald's situation. What type of guy are y'all? Y'all gonna get them kids some food? Or you gonna get your son some food? Now, don't now see, and this is also the other problem. I'm gonna tell you the other problem. You know the other problem is before y'all answer? You have to turn your Muslim hat off in order to answer this question. Because feeding someone, isn't it a form of sadaqah? It's a form of sadaqah, right?
Absolutely.
So it really wouldn't be a problem. The only issue is you try to figure out whether you got money or not.
Yeah, that's what I say on that, John. It was many layers to that. Like, you don't know that man's circumstance. He might have only had enough money to buy, his son some food. So, people was just throwing all this. Oh, he filed. Y'all don't know the circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Him and that woman could be enemies, beefing, talking crazy to each other. The kids could disrespect her. It's many layers to that, John. So for people to just have, oh, he should have did it. He should have. Y'all don't know the circumstance. So I say it depends on the circumstance, man. Like, he wasn't wrong just for bringing his son some food. He's not obligated to them other children. Of course, it's a sadaqah. If he does it, alhamdulillah. He's not. I didn't say he was wrong for that. You know what I mean?
He came with some food for his son. He came with some food for his son.
And then how he was trying to spend it. I finally broke that and watched the video like yesterday. he was telling her, like, look, he can come in the car, bring my son to me. We can sit and chop it up. He can eat his food. You know what I'm saying? So what was wrong with that? The kids didn't even have to know it was McDonald's. They didn't even have to know it was some cheese doodles in the car. He going to talk to his dad. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
She was trying to throw a loop in every little thing, like just crazy.
Well, y'all do know that joint was fake too, right?
I've been over the skit. She said the 7th, then the 11th. You could tell how she was talking. It was a skit. I said, "Oh, they did the skit. It's not serious." You could tell it wasn't a real serious conversation.
But now you see the backlash of that. It has an effect on the community.
Also,
because
I spoke about that earlier.
People are talking about it, and a lot of people are saying a lot of things, right? You know, you ain't gonna feed my kids, and I ain't gonna do this. And this, that, and the third. And he's a bum. And so on and so forth. And
people are form a whole, not to cut you off. People are form a whole opinion on a whole view on you based off your opinion. You have sisters like, oh, I'm glad I know how y'all brothers is now. And you're like, damn, like they'll form a whole opinion of you.
You become the stereotype.
But let's be real. Right. Let's be real. We all grew up in the inner city. We all grew up in the inner city.
Right.
We know old boy probably did it once or twice before, right? But let's be realistic. Ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody gonna be feeding all them kids every single day when it ain't his. Nobody. Everybody know in the hood he's not gonna do it. He ain't gonna do it every day. He ain't gonna do it unless he a sucker. Coming from the hood, you a sucker.
He trying to work back then.
She working him. She the one who working him. Like, yeah, I know he gonna. Hey, can you bring the food over? So we need food. That's the sucker one. We all know the average. Everybody who was on the corner at one time. You got the thorough guys. You got the sucker guys too. They cool, but they suckers. They pocket. Listen, I know some old heads, right, that won't put their man on for nothing, right? And I hope these guys in Burlington is looking too. I'm telling you, this is how it was when I was growing up where I was from. That won't put their boy on, but will give the woman the world, and not even the girl they with, just impress one of the other women.
Yeah. So think about that. Now that's a sickness, right? Now do that in front of the camera. How many likes and shares and hearts you gonna get?
Oh, they will love it. Oh, he bought this, but you know the South messed that game up because up north we wasn't doing it. We wasn't doing that up north.
Dudes was doing it. They was just on some other type.
It wasn't popular. It wasn't popular for up north guys to go to the strip club and throw money. Yeah, and throw money out. It wasn't cool to come out. They be like, yo, you tricking? You tricking? They would have clowned you. The corner would have clowned you.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this story. I'm gonna share this story with you, right? I became Muslim. You know, I almost didn't take Shahada. If y'all know me, I told you the story. You know why. So, you know, I became Muslim. Yeah. And Oheb was like telling me the do's and don'ts, you know. And he was like, and I can't, you know, you're gonna get married. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm looking, you know, like, yeah, that's dope, you know. I'm about to take Shahada. I'm a Muslim. I mean, I'm a non-Muslim about to become Muslim, right? The one thing he said, and you know, when you go to work, you get married, you go to work, that check is your wife's check. Her money's her money, and your money's her money. I was like, what? What you mean? Brother, when you work, you got to give over that check. And I was like, whoa. I was like, hold on. I don't understand that. I said, yo, I ain't never seen nothing like that in my family. You know what I'm saying? I was like, and I think my mother would disown me if I did something like that. You know? And I was just like, yo, you know what? And I was a little perplexed. And I was like, you know what? I'm really feeling, you know, Islam and everything, but I ain't feeling that, you know, and I ain't gonna be out here. And if I'm a person, I like to be true to what I'm part of. So you know what? I think I'm gonna hold off. And one other was like, yo, don't listen to old head. Don't you listen to it. They ain't like that. Just go ahead and take a shot. But because that was something abnormal, I'm like, yo, wait a minute. So you telling me I'm just gonna be out here slaving, and I'm just handing over the money and nothing. I can't do anything, no business, no anything like that. And I used to sell drugs. So you know, in you know, at least in my mind as a drug dealer, I was always thinking of ways that I could make money to stop selling drugs. So you telling me that I'm going to work and I can't save my money? I can't do nothing with my money? I just got to give it to my wife so she can just do whatever? I was like, nah, man. I can't get down with that. Like, I was just basically like, look, Islam is the truth. I'm with it. But that right there, I can't see myself doing that. My family would disown me. I got country people. You know what I'm saying? Caribbean. I got it all. So they be like, what? What? They'll talk about me. As soon as I come through the room, you still giving all your money to that girl? They might get derogatory with it. You still give your money to that piss tail gal and all them children that ain't none of your kids? I can already tell you that.
It would have been clown. You would have been clown.
I'd have been the brunt end of everybody's joke. They'd have been like, yo, you ain't a man. You see what I'm saying? So, and I know the brother meant well and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, I don't know this. This ain't my language. I don't know that language. And some of the realities of people, and I was always real with myself. Some of the realities that I seen people around me with, I didn't have. That wasn't my reality. Wasn't their reality, right? And so I wasn't pretending. And there came a point in my life when I was a Catholic, I questioned myself. I said, damn, why am I out here like running around like this, on savage mode? I was raised in the church. What the heck is going on? You see what I'm saying? I like trying to figure it out. Like, yo, I'm being real with myself. What am I doing here? Yo, the last time, and this I'm gonna get off this rant. The last time, this is how I ended up becoming Muslim. This is where the idea of being Muslim. I had some beef with some guys that was living in my projects, right? Alhamdulillah. And this is funny, but he's Muslim now, right? We Muslim. We was in the same masjid together. A brother brought him in the masjid, right, for me to give him dawah, because he felt I could relate to him because he's a younger guy. And when I seen him, we just like looked at each other like, and he was like, y'all know each other? We was like, yeah, long story. Yo, we literally used to just, when we see that each other, shots used to fly. It was like that. And this guy, this the funny part. This dude just finished shooting at me. In order to go to my grandmother's house, I had to either come in with a car or come in through the back, hop fences and stuff like that, right? And if the dudes at the other corner of the projects caught me, they start shooting at me and stuff like that, right? So this day I came in the house, I was sick, man. I was just like, yo, I'm tired of this stuff, man. I was like, it gotta be something. And I had a girlfriend at the time. She was in the house with me. And I said, it gotta be something, man. I like this just can't be life. Like just all day, all night. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, so what you thinking about? I think I need a religion. So she's like, well, why you don't go to church? I'm like, I look like going back to church. Please, man. She's like, what? What's wrong with church? Like, what, I'm in there clapping? That's on church. I grew up in a church, huh? He would clap, and I used to go to Pentecostal church, so you already know they get to talk in tongues. Right? So, that wasn't popular for me. I was like, that ain't happening, right? So she's like, what you gonna do? I was like, I ain't becoming no Israelite. Ain't that many black people become Jews, right? So she was like, well, what you think about? Won't you become 5%? And I'm like, nah, I don't think I can get down with that because I don't believe the black man is God. So I said, yo, I'm thinking about becoming a Muslim. So first thing she said was two things. She said, number one, she said, I ain't putting all them clothes on. I just looked at her like, whatever. Then she was like, I ain't gonna be dealing with you with all them wives. I was like, man, anybody got time for that? You won't be on whatever I'm on if you with me, right? So this started becoming that trend. So I started thinking that the idea of becoming Muslim was planning in my mind, but I already had a desire to be Muslim anyway because I used to like Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? And then I had an idea that there was a difference between him and the rest of the nation. I just thought there was two branches of the Nation of Islam. For real. But I knew Malcolm's Islam was different because he went overseas. I was like, he went to the East, right? So anyway, right after that, that's how I started researching, getting deeper and deeper. And I ended up becoming Muslim, behind that. But it all took from that day, that same guy that we was in the masjid I was giving dawah to him, right? That was it right there. the brother who gave me Shahada, I almost shot him. Not while he was trying to give me Shahada, though. It was before. You see what I'm saying? Then once we had opportunity to start talking to each other, then that's when he gave me dawah. I used to look at it because we locked up together. I used to look in his room, and I realized, I was like, yo, what is he doing? I used to see him making sajda. I used to see him making ruku. And I knew right then that was my niche. I wanted to be Muslim at that point, you know. So, but the influence, like I said, the influence of social media, it's already, whatever you're doing, it's already in you. If you foul, it's already in you. You know, social media gives you the opportunity to normalize your bipolar thought pattern. That's what it does for you. You know, but it ain't all negative. Let's talk about some good with the social media. So you said you'll buy the kids McDonald's, Malik. So you gonna buy all the kids McDonald's?
Every single one of them. In my mind, though. In my mind. I'm a buy in my mind.
I said I bought my kid McDonald's. I said my kid.
I ain't buying.
Oh, my bad.
McDonald's. I ain't buying nobody else's kids McDonald's. I don't do McDonald's. McDonald's is not real food.
Oh, but one more thing. She said when it was
fried or something like that.
But remember one more thing. She said that, right? She said when they was together, he did everything for them, right?
Right.
Now they ain't together. He's only taking care of his son. There shouldn't have been no argument after that. He did his part. Ain't his job no more. He retired.
Right.
Now, what happened? Now, a subject like this, right? I'm gonna show you how it has an influence on the Muslim community. A subject like this will have an influence on the community when you're talking about marriage. Now, you gotta remember, they're not married. They're committing zina. Muslims, for some reason, we lack that esteem for our Islam. We want to be so normal with the kuffar
to
the point we don't view ourselves in a better light than them. You understand what I'm saying? We gotta have like some sort of the Arabic word is izza, but I don't understand what how you would translate it in English for people to understand it. You have to have some sort of
loosely like power or prestige.
Yeah, you have to have something with you. You know, the same way when every black person is tough. You ever notice that? I promise you, even Clarence Thomas, if he was born anywhere like 20 miles within the vicinity of the hood, he'll claim his hood. Man, I'm from such and such. How many people be from like down in town talking about they from Philly? Right?
That town is Philly to somebody from Chicago. All that's Philadelphia.
That don't count. That's people outside the city. Down in town, they Philly. But my case in point is, you know, but when we become Muslim, we don't have that same fortitude.
Who gonna say, "Oh, I'm from Norristown, PA"?
Now, Norristown make a little noise. People say,
I say I'm from a small city in New Jersey. I'm like, no, I'm from Burlington, man. I don't know.
But the point is that we don't have that same vigor, you know, as Muslims. Dudes be apologetic. Right. Except unless you're a Philly Muslim in Philly. Now I started catching Philly Muslims outside of Philly. They ain't doing too good. They moving them little small towns with them backwoods down there in the south. They don't be doing too good. But they'll sell you the picture on social media. They got a nice house with the dog in the yard, you know. And then as time progresses, they usually fall. Not everybody, but they start falling apart. They start blending into the area and the society that they're in. If you don't have that fortitude, you know, and that's something that's important.
It's set up there on the counter.
If you don't have that, then you're not going to be who you are on social media. You can like dip into that world of schizophrenia. You know what I mean? But what good of social media? I can name a lot of things, but what good comes out of social media?
Hey, you know what? One thing, it's many marriages and divorces on social media. Hey, that's why I mentioned earlier, like, man, there's a lot of people that's benefiting Islamically in regards to Islamic knowledge on social media.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You build relationships too. You build a lot of relationships.
You can. Yeah.
I
build a lot of relationships.
don't see any classes where they produced anybody, produced the man, produced the youth, or produced someone. But you know what I'm saying? People get, you know, they could actually say virtually they set with so and so, or virtually they set with so and so. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember we first started going over the Akhdari and the Murshid El Muin with Sheikh Hamza Mukbul. Come
Right.
on, with Sheikh Hamza Mukbul. We did it on Skype. You know, when Skype was the big thing. I mean, he was like, it was rough classes. You know what I'm saying? He was like traveling. He'd be in his car. You know what I'm saying? He stopping at rest stops. You know what I'm saying? Get 20 minutes, 30 minutes in here, then you know what I'm saying? It was rough. Then when he moved to Chicago, we got it in person. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it was like, and it wasn't even on the social media platform. It was just pretty much from word of mouth how we got plugged with them. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you know, like now you got Fada, you got Taba, you got different, you know what I'm saying, institutions,
You got
that
all
all types of institutions that people are benefiting from. You know what I'm saying?
right.
On social media.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, these things, like, even now you have to understand there's a difference between a podcast, a class, a live, right? You know, you have to understand that, you know, it actually has evolved. You know, it's evolved. You know, a podcast is, you know, just kind of like this. It's like, it's almost like listening to like a news segment or watching the late night show, right? Except for, you know, you control, you know, the discussions. You understand what I'm saying? So it gives people, and people, you can hear people's voices and opinions and thoughts and things of that nature on the subject. There may be someone that's watching that elaborates and may bring out a good point that most of us missed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's benefit from it, right? It's some benefit. It's definitely some benefit, but it's the new culture. It's the new culture, especially after COVID hit. We are already headed in that direction because, you know, with the whole live thing and all that. Matter of fact, first person that put the idea, and, you know, it brought the idea to me was you know, Malik. You know, he's like, yo, you know, I got something for you. Like, yeah, it's how he's about to drop a brick on me or something, right? He's like, yo, I'm telling you, man, yo, this is the wave right here, Shake. I'm telling you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's a wave. You know, and now look at it. Everybody's doing it. Every
And
institution,
that was like 2011.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, so it's became the norm, you know, and it's convenient, and it also eliminates a lot of excuses. Now, there is a thing that can happen. The bad side, you do get televangelism, right? You get the fake sheikhs or the televangelists, you know, where they're preaching to you every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, they need a donation. We need a donation. You know, donate. You know, to the work of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. You know, donate. Don't forget your cash app. You know, and it's just like nonstop, right? You
Pay
know,
that money. Pay that
so
money.
right. You know, so, you know, it's become like nonstop. And I understand, I get it. You know, you do have to raise money in order to keep, you know, it because none of it's free. You know, most people, we look at it like, oh, okay, Facebook is the beginning, right? Then what can happen after that is that the whole thing, you know, it gets monetized, right? And it, you know, starts making money, and, you know, so a lot of things can come out of it, you know. Hold on one second.
I think too, one thing on the flip side, you know, I mean, I gotta come with the Dane perspective. I think we waste a lot of time, man. You know, we waste a lot of time on social media. And if we just think about right now, we're in the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, and these days are so significant. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned in the hadith narrated by Ibn Abbas that there no good deeds, good deeds done on the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. There are no days more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than good deeds done on these 10 days. So while we have the benefits of it, and the pros and cons, sometimes we got to look at the cons, man, and put the phones down. Think about how much time we wasting, because time is just slowly slipping away, as Allah says in Surah Al-Anbiya, that the reckoning, the hour is drawing near, and we're in a state of ghafla. So that's the flip side, man. We gotta stop wasting so much time. It's so much so to the point where we wake up, before we pray subh, you wake up 4 in the morning, you checking your phone. Let me see, let me see who posted something. Let me see who liked my status. So
that's about my inbox.
Right. Let me see if the sister got back at me. And I inboxed at 10 and fell asleep. Let me see if she hit me back. And that's when it becomes that's when it becomes problematic. So what has is good, man. We gotta put them phones down sometimes. Try to do much higher in these first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. So that's the flip side of it.
7 years ago, I married a woman on the first night of Dhul Hijjah.
Alhamdulillah.
Amir Khalil coming to mad shit. I'm like, what the brother had made all late to do it in the car? He come in late. I just cited the Hilal for Dhul Hijjah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so man.
Another thing I think, social media, as ironic and crazy as it sounds, social media has made us less sociable. If you look at the family structure, you sitting in the house, you on the phone, you checking your Twitter, your Instagram, your kids doing it, your wife doing it. Nobody sits down no more at the table, talk, how was your day? Everybody just, divulge into their gadgets, so how is it, that we have all this technology and it's just making us, less sociable? Your family member, and maybe, we don't celebrate birthdays, but you may just give them a shout out. Somebody might have passed away. You just hit them on the book, like, yo, I heard your pop died, man. I'm sorry. You can't even call the person. You don't show up at the house no more. So, some of the the flip side of social media made us, real less sociable. You know what I mean? And one thing I remember Kanye saying, remember when Kanye was flipping on Sway, he was the infamous joint, how, Sway, how, you know what I mean? So one thing that Kanye said when he calmed down, he said, we all slaves. And he was breaking it down, you know what I'm saying? Like, Kanye be tripping, but a lot of stuff that Kanye be saying, be making sense, you know what I'm saying, when you listen sometimes. He said, we all slaves. He said, huh?
I said the crazy man is always smart.
Yeah, they said what they say. It's a thin line between genius and insanity. You know what I'm saying? So he was saying, he said we all slaves. He said we slaves to public opinion. How many times we won't do something or will do something based on what people think about it? You know what I'm saying? How many times we will or won't wear a thing based on what people think about it? Everybody chimed in on this whole McDonald's thing because it was cool to do it. Like, damn, I'm gonna look like a if I don't chime in, I gotta say something. It's perception, it's public opinion. We slaves to that joint. So we make ourselves slaves to this stuff, man. We gotta be, slaves of the law. So at the same time, what has is good, man. We gotta monitor and even check, the benefit and the way the pros and the cons of it. You know what I mean?
Think about this, Sheikh. If you took away the cameras and the internet, people would still do it in person. You know what I mean? They would still do the same sickness in person. That's why I say, if you foul, you just foul. You know what I mean? You're a foul person, you foul, period. The camera just brings it closer and more people can see it. And what happens is, this is where, the Prophet ﷺ spoke about riyah, right? He said that it's a minor form of shirk, a shirk al-sagir, right? And it's inconspicuous, right? Now, you take the cameras away, but if there's people around, the person changes his whole aura. As we say now, his energy is different, right? You put the camera on, and they realize that they got 100,000 views, 10 views, 10,000 views, right? Like, yo, that's a whole 20 people watching me act a fool. Now, what you have now is everybody's clowning, right? They're clowning. Like, I swear, if you watch Reels and TikTok, depending on the constituency, man, all you see is people, majority women dancing, and men are gyrating and dancing, almost like replica of a woman. With certain dances and moves that you didn't do. If you did a dance, you was a man, and you was what they called it back in the day, pop lock it, drop it. Now it's twerking. If you out here twerking and you a man, yo, that was a sign, son, that you belong to the LBGTQRS community.
They'd be like, what's the name? They'd be like Riley on Boondocks, like, yo, that nigga gay.
That's what my grandmother used to say. Boy, that boy a little sweet. that was her way. That boy a little sweet. He a little sweet. Or she get a hand motion. He a little.
Or you know how the old time they say something a little off for him. He a little off.
He like this. He like this. That boy like this.
Yeah.
Something he ain't right.
But now look how many men are impersonating women. Literally, you seeing exactly what the Prophet ﷺ said. Men will imitate women. Literally, dudes will dress up, put on a bathrobe to look just like their mother, and start doing a job. I was watching a skit a person was doing the other day, and the dude had on a little do-rag all tied up like a woman, and he was supposed to be imitating a woman on the phone, and he was patting his hair like this, right? Anybody know where that hair pattern come from? Usually where somebody got braids or they weave or something like that, and they don't want to dig in their scalp, right? So he was doing that to the T, right? So, some of these things draw you, and then what happens is a public discussion comes about, and a debate, they'll be like, yo, they were gearing us up for this. I know Muhammad remember this. Muhammad, remember people used to debate if playing with a doll made the boy develop feminine tendencies. Then I remember when they used to talk about men and say that men were basically like too rough, right? They weren't emotional. They got into the emotional side. Bro, I've been around for a couple decades now, right? Now we're into the phase now of the man doesn't know if he's a man or not, or he can claim to be whatever sex he wants to claim to be. They've been breaking us down from a long time ago. And every 10 years, it gets closer and closer, right? And we don't even realize it. Because 40 years ago, it wasn't the internet. 40 years ago, it was the television and the radio. People would have conversations on the late night. The late night conversations, it would come on and they would be having these conversations, crazy conversations. Then like the
Golden
whole thing
Girl
started becoming
Golden
popular
Girl.
About the Download Brothers and
Golden Girl.
All that stuff. Golden Girl. Yep.
Golden Girl was the one
all
who
that
did
stuff. It was conversation, right? And what would happen? People had this conversation and it influenced them. You started thinking. Then they start making movies, right? Media was always used with Fir'aun. He had Haman, right? Haman was like his intelligence officer, broadcaster, right? He was everything. They put the word out there. That's what they used to use. Like even I don't know if you went to schools that study Greek philosophy and Greek folktale and mythology, the mythology and stuff like that. But remember media, the harp, right? They used to sing to people and stuff. And so what's happening today? Now people are extremely volatile. If you listen to the lyrics of a lot of these songs, almost every woman is rapping, right? Almost every woman is rapping. She's sexualized, right? And she also emasculates men, right? Think about it. What's the girl from Texas? Megan Thee Stallion, right? Her part of her emasculation, the women, they bounce into it, right? They bopping and bouncing to it, but they keep, she says, I call them a trick or a hoe, right? It's talking about him. And sometimes they even talk about spending money on you and kicking you out. You see what I'm saying? It's emasculating, right? Like everybody running around here super tough. I don't care what y'all say. I blame that on Tupac Shakur. Because Tupac Shakur wasn't the persona that he put out there. And most of the people that were rappers, they stayed in their lane, right? If you was a backpack rapper, was rapping about positivity and stuff like that, you stayed in your lane. That was your lane. If you was on some thug stuff, that was your lane. But people do facts checks, right? If you weren't really about that, then what happened is it was a blemish against your character. Like Chuck D. You remember Chuck D? All of the Black Power stuff, which I think it was a dumb reason why people kind of like
The hype.
was saying like he was fake. You know what I'm saying? His revolutionary was fake because he grew up in the suburbs in Long Island and he had a good education and so on and so forth. But he wasn't portraying himself to be no thug. But back then, in the minds of the people, your leader had to be boots on the ground, and a lot of times they expected him to be grassroots. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with intellectuals, right? So that's what sometimes you have to be able to develop your own thinking. But if the influence is there, everybody's thinking you're going to be think about what you're being programmed. And
that man used to roll around with a guy with a
programmed.
cat in the hat on. He used to roll around with somebody with a cat in the hat on and a clock chain.
Right. What's the name?
Flavor Flav. Oh man. Well, subhanallah. So, another question for everyone. Do you think that is going to be another wave on what people, because everything dies out after a while, right? Like Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that. Do y'all think it's going to be a new wave of social media, like something other Facebook that become bigger than Facebook?
It's already happening.
I think Clubhouse is going to be bigger than Facebook, man.
I mean, why not? It's always something new. You know what I mean? Everything always upgrade. Look how big TikTok thing got. TikTok got big overnight. I mean, so it's always something to, keep upgrading something else to waste our time on some foolishness. You know what I mean?
Y'all thinking small. You got to remember a lot of this internet stuff is the influence of the Dajjal. One of the characteristics of the Dajjal is he's able to bring the past into the present, right? And you can do that now. You film it, right? You can watch old films, and it can tell you about the past. How does everybody grow up hating Hitler? Because of the narrative, right? It used to be recorded in books, but now you see a real live visual, right? But I thought y'all was gonna say it. Y'all missing it. They're trying to create Jannah in the dunya. And I ain't talking about just partying and things like that. You know that thing called the new lick is what is that joint called? The metaverse. The metaverse. It's like a more in-depth virtual Sims.
Hey, well, when they was first talking about the World Wide Web in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s,
right?
They had made it like a propaganda to like don't get caught up in the web,
right?
And everything is everything you search, the search engine is www, right? World Wide Web. You know what I'm saying? And remember on, I think it was Batman or something, where they had the TV, the device on top of the TV was people was tuning in to, and it was like hypnotizing the people. You know what I'm saying? Another form.
No, they got this joint now where basically you can live the type of life.
It's like virtual reality.
It's like virtual reality. You can have your girl on there. There's men that's opting out of dealing with women.
Yeah, I seen that.
Literally. opting out of dealing with women because they get more pleasure from the virtual, whatever they're looking at in the goggles,
Mm.
and that becomes their gender. And these guys are paying all kinds of money for this.
And they've been programming it since we was kids. Think about how we was kids. We used to watch the Jetsons, right? The Jetsons, they up in the sky somewhere, they got cars flying. We used to have them debates when we was young, 10 years old. Like, yo, you think there's ever gonna be cars that fly? You know what I'm saying? So they was programming it since we was little kids for this stuff.
The stories that you watch on television is a depiction of a person's imagination. That's why even if you look at Aqidah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from any of these characteristics or traits where you associate, the resemblance of creation. Because whatever, like Dhunun al-Misri, he said, rahmatullahi alayhi, he said, whatever comes to your mind, know that Allah ta'ala is not that. And think about it. We used to have, when I was growing up, Mr. Egg used to be a thing, right? Thundercats, you had fighting cats. Ninja Turtles, you had fighting turtles that eat pizza and do skateboarding, right? I mean, whatever you can think of, it had a voice. The voice sounded like a human voice, and so on and so forth. And so sometimes people don't understand the reality of that. You know what I mean? But this is exactly what's happening now. Some of these VR, virtual reality, it's one thing you playing a video game, right? But video games are looking so realistic. You see, like, and I'm a gamer. When I got time, people are consumed.
And it's crazy. Like I made a post earlier that all they doing is recycling. Yo, my son, he be on his tablet. They got a new version of think about DuckTales. It's ducks talking. Turtles talking. Garfield, a fat little cat. He's sitting there watching all that stuff. I'm like, damn, it's like deja vu all over again. I mean, they program
that stuff was innocent comparison to the stuff now, though.
They have something called Engine 5 now, like Engine 5, which makes everything look extremely real that they're trying to push out there. Like pretty soon the games is gonna look like me and you
it's
walking down the street. Yeah, it's called Engine 5.
2K, Madden or anything, most of the players look like real people.
You see the sweat, you see the bumps on their face.
Sweat, yeah. You see sweat.
You remember when they were talking about violent cartoons, right? You know what I'm saying? Back in the early 80s, you know what I'm saying? Now, what is nobody really paid no attention to it at all. But Disney cartoons were some of the most violent cartoons. Nobody paid attention to Elmer Fudd. You know what I'm saying?
No, that ain't Disney. That's Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner.
They said that back in the day, they said the most violent cartoon was Tom and Jerry. And funny that you're saying that some of the stuff that they did, we used to try that stuff when we was kids. Like we used to put the shovel on the ground and let somebody walk on it so it smack them in the forehead. Oh, we thought it was funny until we actually got in the head with that joke. Oh, snap!
Think about the boy.
Wrestling was fake.
Think about the boy Road Runner. Road Runner, he running off the road, coming back up. A kid to try that, like you ain't coming back up like Road Runner. You done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
But you even think about it like this, like where Disney is preying on the children emotions, right? Not just outside. Like if you really look, they have all the gender pushing in every Disney movie, right?
Oh, definitely.
Crazy. Yeah, not even just the homosexual. Now, peep how they teach kids about depression, and that it's okay to be depressed. That they lose their cat or their dog, and you can teach them all these type of things, and not how to deal with it.
Yeah, like more of a thing now.
Like Disney always pushing gender, man.
And it's crazy, like you said, with the depression and stuff, like with kids, like when we was coming up with Wallahi, we never said stuff like, I'm bored. My son, 5, he be sitting in the crib like, Dad, I'm bored. Like we have found something to do.
I used to say I'm bored. I used to get like, boy, you better.
Nah, we would go find something. Like I go outside.
This would be a toy. This would be a toy. You start throwing this in the air.
Right, you gonna do something like.
Bro, we used to ball up paper and play basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to hit my son. I had to hit my son a paper plane. So now he'd be like, make me a paper plane. Like this so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you bored, kid?
Yeah, Well, now when they say they bored, they want you to give them a tablet or a phone.
Right.
He said, "Boy, I used to say bored back in the day when I was a kid. I was bored. I didn't know what to do. So you know,
that mean we wasn't allowed outside.
Get
That
you a
mean we
book,
wasn't
boy.
allowed outside. That we wasn't allowed outside. We was on punishment.
Oh, that was punishment.
That was punishment.
I used to rather take a whooping than to get put on punishment to stay in the house.
Yeah.
You couldn't keep us in the house.
So I guess to wrap it up, what's some of the advices you would give? We all give to our listening audience. With regards to social media. As a Muslim, how should a Muslim conduct themselves on social media? Despite of what you see from people that are Muslim, what is the proper decorum that will correlate and match with the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? But and then after that, we'll go to some of the comments. I forgot we got comments here. We didn't even entertain the comments tonight.
Well, what I would say is, the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he spoke about that Islam entered strange and it will end strange. So give good tidings for those who are strange. We can't be scared of being strangers, of being different than everyone else, right? To be in the outcast, right? I spoke about it earlier where Erica Badu said something like she was like, it was like what she said? She said that a guy spoke about that is 85% of the people are followers and 10% of the people are leaders and 5% of the people are observers. 85% of the people want to be led, 10% of the people are leading them to rather if it's wrong or correct, and 5 people are observing everything that is coming along. So the people that are observant are getting, assassinated because they see everything and they're calling out everything, right? These are the strangers. The Muslims, we are the strangers, right? We don't condone in homosexuality, and we have something to prove. And we're not a lakum dinakum waliya din. To you be your way, to me be mine. We don't hate you. We just don't involve ourselves in these matters, right? We leave off matters that don't concern us. We have to be strangers again and accept being strange, right? Accept being strange. That's what I just want to say, and inshallah ta'ala, we get to that stage where we feel okay being outcast.
No.
I would say with all things, it's a balance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Rahman about the balance. He said what? He said that he raised up the skies and he set the balance of all things. So don't over exceed or go past the balance. So it's the mizan, weigh it. It has its benefits, it has its downsides, weigh it. We can't be too overburden ourselves in deen. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in the hadith, he said that deen is easy. And whoever overburdens himself, he won't be able to continue on in that way. Think about how many people we see that burn themselves out. They come into the deen, they hype, they got this zeal, they got this fervor. Next thing you know, 5 years later, they barely got any Islam, if they have any at all. So it's a balance. Sometimes you might need something. You might be stressed out. You might need to get a little laugh if it's not, something too crazy. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, they used to smile and, have jokes sometimes. So it's a balance, a way to balance. And we know ourselves, when it's going too far to the left, it's getting too crazy. Like, damn, I ain't even pray yet, and it's Maghrib is about to, come in and I didn't pray Asa yet. So know the balance, know when you got to stop, because ultimately we're going to be questioned about everything that we do. It's not even a word. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, man does not utter a word except that they're what? Raqibun Atid. They're recorders recording everything we say, everything we do. So know, when to set the balance. You want to get on social media for benefit, for some classes, things like that. You want to, chop it up with your friends, your family. You want to laugh sometimes, do that. But know when to turn it off, man. When when I need to check myself. So just, know the mizan and know the balance. And, as we know ourselves. So Allah knows best.
I wanted to say, is like you open the door.
Speak up a little bit, Shay. We can't hear you.
All right, it's utilize social media to gain some benefit for you in this life and the hereafter. Right? stop sinning. Stop exposing yourself on social media. Stop exposing your sins. You look like a doggone nut doing that stuff. You know what I mean? Yes, one minute, you know what I'm saying? So it's social media. And stop taking things that's not as serious as they appear to be. Stop taking them serious. You know what I'm saying? That's basically, you know what I'm saying, all I gotta say. I mean, stop frauding. You know what I mean? Because people, you know what I'm saying, people on here know you. You know what I mean? There's people on here that don't know you. And don't, you know what I'm saying, don't ignore the fact that because a person not Muslim that they don't know anything about Islam. You know what I mean? People, they know you ain't supposed to be acting up like you acting a fool. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? That's what black people, we love a good show. You know what I'm saying? We love a good show. You know what I'm saying? A saucy live video, a saucy topic. You know what I'm saying? On a Facebook post, a Facebook post. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? People love that. You know, so even in our joking, I mean, still behave as Muslims.
No.
To still behave as Muslims. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Not only is Allah watching, but everybody is watching.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Check your nefs at the door.
No. Good advice. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up some of the comments, or if there's any questions, y'all can answer those real quick. Hold on. Damn. Does the panel think that some of the people have blurred the lines between reality and online life, and that's why people have double lives, one online and one in real life? How can you counteract that? Any of y'all can answer, inshallah. Need me to leave it up there?
You know,
You got
personally, that's a deep question. That's deep. That's a deep question. Like, you know, what I would say is just, you know, the biggest reality check is death. Is death. That you can die. Well, you're going to die in real life, right? You're going to die in real life. So we should constantly remember death. That once we get offline is a reality. You know, is stuff we have to face. And this is, you know, if we look at right now, like a lot of the kids are dying due to, you know, problems that they have on social media, right? They see another young kid live, yo, you a chump, yeah, da, 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 da. And then next thing you know, once that live is off, you know, these young kids are here dying. Or now, or they walking around the corner with the live playing, like, yeah, I'm on your strip, or I'm right here, and then this stuff happens. So we have to, you know, constantly stay in a state of remembrance of death. And that should be able to check our desires, that, you know, our nefs, and, you know, give us a real reality check that, you know, after we put these phones down, after we, you know, cut the computer off, that is a real life, you know, feel, or real life, you know, way of living outside, you know, inshallah.
No.
Yeah, just to counter, you know, just to you know, piggyback off what Solly said. That's, you know, that's the reality. We're gonna die. Like I said, all of this stuff is being recorded. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has his angels recording. You know, it's not escaping, you know, it's not escaping the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and like you said, people dying off of this stuff. You have people have a misunderstanding on social media. You know, before we would see each other in the street and it's on site, it's the same way with social media with these kids now. And they said something like, you know, they got the drill music and it's pumping, hyping them up. They see somebody in the street, oh, what you say, you know, pump, what you say, and somebody get killed over it. And then also, people really know you. You have people offline that know you. So you might play yourself and get yourself exposed. You know what I mean? People know you offline, so they see you. You know, you're on social media counting money, and you like Tommy from Martin. You ain't got no job. So in the long run, like you're gonna really play yourself. So I would say, you know, just get it together.
Sometimes when people know your reality in real life, it makes your arrogance come out and they turn into a beast. You know what I mean? They be like, man, you don't know me. You know, that's also the flip side to it too. But to counteract it is really, honestly, it's all about how you conduct yourself. You know, I think you hit it on the head. So you have to understand the reality, death and dying, about the angels. You know, the angels is recording. You know, and so you're not gonna get away from it. For a Muslim to have proper etiquette and behave, right? It's an honorable thing. It's actually a praiseworthy thing that you have the same character in private that you do have in person in the public, right? It can be honorable when you're a good Muslim in the public. You also have that same persona and be a good Muslim in private, right? That's a good thing. But some people think it's keeping it real because we also live by that thing too. You know, I'm real as real get. And if I'm, you know, I'm shot out in person, I'm shot out, you know, in real life, and I'm shot out, you know, online. You know, so sometimes we praise that stuff. I think the only thing you could do, it really the only thing counteract is to send the reminders, right? When you post things that people read, I notice people. The trend is people don't really like reading long stats no more. People watch hour-long videos, but they won't read like a two paragraph stat, right? People will read a meme, but they won't read a two-paragraph stat. So, you know, you have to be that reminder for people sometimes. You know what I mean? Because deep down inside, at the end of the day, they want guidance. Deep down inside, at the end of the day, they want guidance. And, you know, for those good people, don't be condescending, but be a reminder. Be a tezkirah, or be a reminder for a person. You know? Let me see. If someone does not have an immediate business or essential work online, should he severely curtail his online presence except for useful pages like this one? Absolutely. I think that, you know, you should limit your entertainment, right? You should limit your entertainment. And, you know, take care of your business if you're business. Because a lot of people now, people are making money by doing things online. You know, it's a business, you know, run businesses online now. So not all the time is always associated, you know, associated with just on there, just fraternizing, right? Sometimes your fraternizing is how you make money, truthfully. So, but it all depends on how you conducting yourself. I don't know. Y'all got anything to add to that? Facebook user. It says too many passwords to remember. LL 15 pages. That was back. Refer back to y'all comment about the social identity disorder. That Muhammad was married to Moon Knight. Anyway, okay, next one. Social media can be the shaitan's tool. Absolutely. It gives us a false sense of acceptance, love, and feeding our nafs. And we will expose our sins for likes. And we feed our nafs via social media. Now, I don't think really require no comment. Anybody want to elaborate on it?
No, that's good. That's just a good statement.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely true.
Is there a reason why some blacks in America are resistant to changing their names after entering into Islam? Man, some of that joint is some people feel like they ain't got to, or you know, some people might actually like it because, like, I look at the trend, right? Muslim children, a lot of Muslim children now are starting to have. When I say non-Islamic, I really mean it in its literal sense. Non-Islamic names, right? At one time, children used to be Muhammad, Bashir. You know, even non-Muslims used to name their children these names, right? Rafiq, Malik, you know, and the list goes on. The trend now is, you know, Alex. You know, what's another name that's Pierre, Pierce. You know, names like that. You know, now they're becoming more. You know, and people try to have that Frenchy in Spanish. You know, that something Zay or Za or something like that connected to their name. Dajani. You know, Dejan mayonnaise. Yo, wallahi. Just thinking about this. Did I ever tell you this? Malik, I know you tell you this. Man. We spent a lot of time together. Did I ever tell you about a little kid in my project? His name was Shaitan. His father was from South Africa. I ain't never tell you about that joint. That boy name was Shaitan. His name was Shaitan. I could not believe that. Of course,
Wow.
growing up, we didn't know. We didn't know. We wasn't Muslim. But once I became Muslim, I see this woman named the devil. I was like, oh man.
But a question for you.
They be doing stuff like that because I think they used to use the word kafir used to be equivalent to using the word nigga. You know what I'm saying? And that used to influence a lot of brothers. Like, man, we ain't gonna call people kafirs because that's being derogative. No, Allah referred to those disbelievers as kafir. That's what kafir means, right?
But what can we do about the young kids that's calling themselves demons nowadays? That's the thing we need to know how to counteract now.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's just like if you look at Sirah, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Quraysh had the media. And the only thing with what overpowered, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't have all of those, the things that they had. They literally had people that will write poems to slander the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and spread them all throughout Arabia, right? So if you look at it in our time, it's equivalent to the YouTube and so on and so forth. The only thing you can do, honestly, is be Muslim. People have to see real Muslims. You know the greatest miracle in this time period? It ain't walking across water no more, flying. It's just holding together a family. Because you got everything, not just holding together any old family. Because sometimes we'll accept, bad behavior, even sometimes kufr from our family in order to keep family together. And Allah's not pleased with that, right? Think about it. Prophet Ibrahim, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, made bara. He separated himself from his father because his father was clear. It was clear he was on kufr. And his kufr was hostile, right? If you look at the Muslims at the time, Prophet it was, they separate themselves. That's the whole concept of hijrah. Hijrah ain't move somewhere so you can get a better job or get a bigger house and with a backyard or it's cheaper to live there, right? Hijrah is about where you separating yourself. How can someone, the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah used to drop his curses up on a society, right? What is it? What's the ayat in Surah Anfal, one of my favorite ayats, right? That Allah Ta'ala says that he will not destroy them as long as you, meaning Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is amongst them, right? Allah Ta'ala, and if you look at it, and it has to be righteous people that live in societies that's calling people, right? And this can get into a whole nother discussion. But anyway, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as long as he was in Mecca, Allah Ta'ala didn't send the believers to punish them, right? They didn't send the believers to punish them. When the believers separated themselves and they went to Medina, then Allah Ta'ala punished the disbelievers by hands of the believers, right? If you look at all of the Anbiya, when you read all of the qasas, all of the stories in the Quran of all the prophets never remained in that area. When a prophet left, you knew the destruction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was coming upon you. Right? Now the thing is, think about Prophet Lut alayhi salam. He may have lived amongst those people, but he didn't engage. And he called them away from what they were doing that was wrong. Then Allah Ta'ala signaled for him to leave them. Why did his wife get destroyed amongst those people? Because she was engaged in it as well. When Allah sent the two angels, to the door of Lut, and all these men lined up at his door, right? And I got a kind of like an imagination, so I'll imagine all these little fruitcakes. Lut.
I know it. I know they in there. I know they in there.
I see them. Send them young boys out here. We got something for. Yo, Luke was like, yo, what are you doing? I have daughters. You can marry my daughter. You know we want Luke, right? And what was his wife doing? And you gotta remember, this is a sign for women that this was Allah mentioned her in the Quran as one of the evilest of women, right? What would she do? She sent off flares like smoke signals to let them know when them young men were gonna be there. Allah instructed them to leave. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, Allah informed it that town was gonna get flooded. And what happened? He told everybody, the people who was supposed to board, he took the animals and the people that was on, and the people that wasn't, he left them there and they got destroyed. Right? What was it? The people of Ad and Thamud, where the earth got flipped upside down. You know, every time there's a destruction, we have to be that benefit for society, because you help society, you help yourself by helping the society. If you're righteous and you're there and you're calling people to the deen, and you call them until you exhausted all options. But all the time calling, it don't always have to be verbal. Just conduct yourself as a Muslim. Just conduct yourself as a Muslim. Be the same way. The same way you will be in public, they will approach you the same way online. Assalamu alaikum, good brother. Listen, I'm down and out. Like, I done talked to all kinds of people. I done talked to people that was about to kill themselves online. And I'm sitting there looking like, why'd you inbox me of all people? You see what I'm saying? So it's literally like that. You know, so that's the only thing I can think of with regards to that. Next one. Social media. Wait, let me make sure. Oh, no. Okay, social media gives you the opportunity to be a version of yourself, not totally yourself, though it has benefits. I don't live in a Muslim community anymore, and there are not many Muslims or masjid here, so this podcast is a blessing. Y'all provide knowledge, guidance, and laughter, and it's the longest I've been on social media on Fridays. I mean, alhamdulillah, may Allah Ta'ala continue to bless and protect y'all. I mean, alhamdulillah, barakallahu feekum. And this is why we do it. As time progresses, you'll have more and more people that'll tune in. It'll spread more. It'll only be like the Howard Stern show. Now, let's see, last one. That is one of the heaviest statements I've heard this week. One of the miracles of today is holding together a family, subhanAllah. No, I mean, we're fighting to keep our children Muslim. We're fighting to keep wives and husbands. Right? People are literally losing their mind. Most people, you know why most people walk around depressed? It's usually associated with family or some money. That's the reality. You know, we're losing it. And, you know, and especially in a society that's promoting, it's cool to break up. This society promotes breaking of your family. It promotes it.
And
the
for
song, the music, the Facebook posts, the stats. I mean, it's just nonstop. It's like a weapon against you. No.
Did y'all ever see this movie called Sausage Party?
Pause, bro. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I didn't watch
the animated joint, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right? It's in the movie, right? You have the pita bread beefing with the bagel, right? So
right,
the bagel's the Jew, right? The pita bread is the Arab, right? So they ask you, y'all on the same aisle. Why are y'all beefing? Why are y'all constantly beefing, right?
Right.
So the whole thing is like a satire joint, right?
Right.
So the pita bread and the bagel was beefing, right?
No.
But at the end, they came to a realization that, you know, that religion was orchestrated by these old, you know, the belief in the food court was orchestrated by these old condiments, right? Like ketchup, relish, something else. They made it so all the people, all the fruits and vegetables stay in line, right? So when they leave the store, they think when they leave in the store they're dying, they're going to Jannah, but in reality you're getting ate. So at the end they said it ain't no religion. Do what you want. So now the bagel and the pita bread is making love, having sex. This and the other one. The wiener is in the bun. It's just crazy. The joint is crazy. This is the end of the joint. Wow. So what I would say to you, just watch the end of the movie, and you see what is being pushed
Well, yeah,
as of now.
the stories, story. That was one of the things that you go to. I learned in college, writing and stuff like that. They always, it actually got it from Islam too, where you got the intent of a thing, and a lot of people that write deep down inside, there's a message, you know what I'm saying, that they're trying to promote, whether it's through fiction or nonfiction. You know what I mean? If you look at the movie Aladdin, remember Aladdin? What was Aladdin pushing? The princess to break, basically like to go against her parents, right? So yeah, and honestly, I think that's also a method that Muslims could use, is to do writing with an Islamic agenda. Writing stories. You can write just write a fiction story, but it has an agenda. All of those stories, those little stories we used to read. The boy who cried wolf and so on and so forth. Though they all had a moral to their story, and the Muslims need to have. I believe we have to get like that, and it just can't be any Muslim. It has to be a Muslim that understand the society that they live in, because like when you read Arab literature, I forgot that one guy. He's so famous. Gosh, I can't remember his name right now. But he writes novels, and sometimes like little comedy with it, and so on and so forth. I definitely reading, and then you have to go visual. You have to make a visual cartoon, a movie, a little skit. Instead of making TikToks where everybody's twerking, you make an Islamic skit. But sometimes what happens is that we make mockery of our own tradition to the point we start feeling ashamed and we leave our practice too. So you got to be careful of that flip side, to it. So, that's all the comments that we have up here, inshallah. So you want to close out, Muhammad, take us home with that good old dua, the kutub.
You can make it short. We know you out there with the kids, man. They jumping all on you eating now.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق وخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره مقداره العظيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وأن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولك آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. And don't forget, share, like, heart it, leave a comment later, whatever. Inshallah. Thank you all for sticking out with us on the Soullutionz podcast. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.